Hi, welcome to Tommy, what podcast are we doing? What are we doing?
Strange old men in a strange old
Alright.
cave.
Oh, strange old man in a strange old cave. Well, my friends, have you ever wanted to crush your enemies, see them driven before you as sheep in the herd before the herdsman? Have you ever wanted to invade Poland? Well, so have we. You've come to the right place.
And the right podcast.
I'm Harrison Smith and the right podcast. I'm with my friend Tommy Hale. I'm Harrison Smith. Um,
Yeah, and that's about it. Thanks for listening, guys.
yeah, bye.
Yeah. No, so it's been a while since we've actually recorded a podcast because we've been busy. Well, correction, Harrison's
Yeah,
been
it's been
busy.
about,
I've been
been about 2
lazy.
weeks. I have.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that.
Harrison's been busy. I've just been lazy. Well, no, I've been busy with other things.
I wouldn't say.
And also procrastinating. But earlier today, I finally uploaded the first episode, so, well, it's a start, isn't it?
Mhm.
All right, so today,
Yeah.
so I was kind of sitting down, and I was talking to my mom, and I noticed
Mm.
she grabbed. It was pretty funny. She had
Tommy?
a glass. Yeah.
Tommy, hold on. Tommy,
Yeah.
we're having. My internet might be having problems. Is your audio cutting in and out?
No.
Okay, the call keeps cutting in and out for me.
Well, I guess we'll just see what happens. Or
All right, let's. All right, well, just cut that out. Just cut this part out.
okay, let me.
So continue your story.
Or maybe I just won't cut it out because I'm a jerk. I don't know.
You heard it here, everybody. Tommy's a jerk.
Yep. So, anyways, so my mom, she had a cup of water, but there's no ice in it. She wanted ice, so she grabbed some. She grabbed like some ice, and there's like 3 pieces stuck together. And normally, what I do is I break it on the side of the glass and have the ice kind of fall in when I kind of break it.
Mhm.
But instead, she just slammed it on the counter. And I just started cracking up laughing because
Oh,
I didn't
like
think,
violently.
kind of.
Wow.
It's pretty funny actually, but she did that, and then I'm like, why didn't you just do it on the side of the glass? And then she was saying how like because the cup she was using wasn't very durable compared to the one I was using.
Oh,
Because you know those green cups at my house,
yeah, I do.
those glasses are like those things were made in like the 40s or 50s.
Oh, really?
And they're pretty durable. And then mom's like, yeah, because everything's not made in China anymore. And then that got me thinking, you know, sometimes I think about it a lot. Other people think it's like, man, life was probably way better in the 50s and whatnot. And so I was kind of thinking, well, there were some things that were better, but some things that weren't. Some things that I like a lot more now. So that's what
Yeah,
brings us to this.
polio is still a thing.
Yeah, and so that's what kind of brings me into this what this episode's about today. I wanted to talk about the 50s and I guess how just changing it was cuz you remember our history project that we had to do about the decades?
I do. I do.
So, a little context for everyone else. There was in our history class we had to do a project about the decades. It was basically our whole entire Cold War unit. We just studied decades and individual groups studied them, different decades. Quite interesting, and I felt like the 1950, like some people did. Oh, it was like the title was like 1940s decade of change, 1950s decade of change. That was like the only little tagline everyone did. Where
Mhm.
I feel like everybody who chose, like if they did the 60s, 70s, whatever, and they just called it a decade of change, where they're not wrong. However, I feel like the 50s should rightfully be called a decade of change because so much changed in that period of time. Because the
Mhm.
1950s, it was I feel like that was the time when everything changed from how things were 40s and before to kind of how things are now, in a sense.
I guess I see I see where you're coming from, and I I would argue that every decade in every decade was different though.
They
I
are,
mean,
but
yeah,
I feel like the 70s and 80s were a lot more similar than, let's say, the 70s and the 50s. So every decade is similar
oh
to the
yeah,
one before and after it. But
yeah.
I feel like kind of the 1950s was a very big pivotal point in where it kind of
Mm,
took everything in a different direction. I'd like to use music for an example. So let's say, so music from the 20s to about the 40s was, so music from the 20s, 30s, 40s were kind of similar in a sense. They were very,
yeah, it was
it was
big
it,
band oriented.
it was big band and stuff like that, which I like that stuff a lot. But then
Yeah,
again,
so do I. It's great.
I listen to like anything really. Um, yeah, and I'm gonna use the guitars for an example, the instrument and how it changed music in a sense. So back then, guitars weren't used a whole lot, and it wasn't a primary. Whereas
Yeah.
music today, it well, it's shifting from a guitar being a main thing to synthesizers being a kind of a main element in pop music. But
Hmm.
I guess that can be a different topic, which would actually be really interesting. We should cover that next time. Kind of,
We should talk about yeah.
or maybe this time. I don't know. But I feel like there's a lot to talk about now. So, anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so in the 20s through 40s, up until that point, guitar wasn't used a whole lot for the main driving force for that. It was mainly brass. Like in a big band,
Yeah,
the most thing you generally hear is probably brass and woodwind. I mean, drums, obviously. Well, you always hear the drums because that's the found. Drums and bass are the foundation of a song. They give it the beat and the groove, and then you just kind of build up on top of that. Because in my opinion, unless you're doing like an acoustic song with either a single piano or a single guitar, there's always going to be a drum and a bass. Because those are essential, in my opinion. And
mhm.
I think most people would agree with that.
That drums and bass are essential.
Yeah, because think about it. It's an orchestra.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I
Hmm.
I think that 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 melody is a little bit more important than rhythm though.
Well, a
Like
song has to have the drums and bass. They are the foundation of the song,
yeah,
which is important.
I see
Every
where
part is equally important, but for starting with basics, you get a rhythm going.
yeah.
I mean, granted, other
So
people. Hmm?
yeah, well we've strayed quite a bit from our original topic.
Yeah, but so anyways, back to what I was saying. So
Mhm.
guitar was not a very prominent instrument. If you listen to big band, you they did have it sometimes. It didn't really start getting popular until guitar, anyways, until the 50s, because people started doing less big band and a lot more rock and roll. That's why you got people like Buddy.
No,
Well, 50s is when rock and
yeah.
roll was pivotal.
Yeah. Now, Tommy, would you argue that this is a positive thing or a negative thing?
I would say positive thing, because I'm a guitar player myself. Now, the guitar is probably one of the most common instruments that people play,
Yeah, definitely.
but in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that, because I guess if you
Mhm.
start playing guitar, you might think, hey, I'm interested in this instrument and
Hey,
whatnot.
that's pretty good.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I'm a guitar player myself. I mean, I'm not the best, and I'm not the worst, but I'm not the best. But I'm okay with that because I don't know. I've kind of accepted the fact that I won't be a super amazing guitar player simply because I don't practice guitar enough.
Hmm.
That's you know, that's why because I'm spending all my time dancing instead of playing music. But you know, that's a little off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so back to what I was saying. because in the 50s is when rock and roll was born. Guitar was a lot more prominent. Music was a little more uh, minimalistic in a sense, or basic, because back, let's say Chuck Berry, because I haven't really listened to a whole lot of Buddy Holly, or like the Beach
Hmm.
Boys. Well, nah, Beach Boys is kind of more 60s, I would think, or late
Yeah, Beach
50s.
Boys is 60s, kind of the advent of boy bands.
Yeah, except that was good old California rock and roll, I guess.
Yeah,
I would think
yeah.
that's a little more 60s, early 60s.
Hmm.
But I don't know, quote, if anyone happens to know when their debut album was, or their first album, then comment or whatever. I don't know.
Why don't Tommy? We have the internet at our disposal. Let's
Yeah.
make it happen. Let's see. Beach Boys first album.
Okay.
Album.
Savannah.
1961.
Okay. So yeah, there's early 60s, like I was guessing. Okay. So yeah, like people like
Hmm.
Chuck Berry. If you listen to like Chuck Berry, now I haven't listened to a lot, but from all the stuff I have, you all you really hear most of the time is you hear the drums, you hear the bass, and you hear the guitar. You know,
Yeah,
and vocals obviously. Um,
yeah.
Whereas if you listen to someone like, let's say Benny Goodman and his orchestra, the music was more complex because there was a lot more elements added to it. Where
Yeah,
in the
there's
50s,
just more going on.
yeah, they had the good old, they had a brass section, they had saxophones, which are, I'm gonna deviate a little bit, talk about saxophones,
Hmm.
and so saxophones is pretty much the combination of a woodwind instrument, like a flute, because that's a woodwind instrument,
Hmm.
and a brass, trumpets, trombones. They're the combination of the two, because I forgot why my music teacher, he explained it to me, or I don't remember if it was specifically to me or the class, but he explained it how like they just couldn't get the sound right. They wanted something that was like a combination of woodwind and brass, and then saxophone was made. Now it could be wrong, so I guess don't quote me on that, because this is me trying to remember
Hmm.
something that was probably a year ago. But yeah, so back to the
Hmm.
main topic, music. So the 50s, it changed how music was, because they made music a little more simplistic in a sense. They took away some elements. Now, granted, there's still such people still compose like symphonies and all that jazz today, and I feel like some people,
All that jazz. Huh?
people, and well, jazz wasn't made. Jazz was jazz will always kind of be a thing, and that wasn't
Yeah, I mean,
but it wasn't the most popular thing.
Yeah,
Because back in the 50s, rock and roll was the popular thing. That's what all those crazy kids listened to.
yeah, those dumb kids. But Tommy, I would argue that that while music generally was more complex in the olden days, 300 years ago,
Yeah.
500,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, music was definitely more complex in the past century, but they also had jazz. You were talking about how music simplified,
In a sense.
and music in the 50s, music did simplify, but I would argue that um it already had simple elements, and it wasn't a move towards simplification of music. It was a move towards
Style.
a new style of
Yeah.
simple music.
Because music could
Um,
be as simple as people wanted it to be. Maybe. Now, I haven't listened to everything in the 40s and 50s because we obviously weren't alive back then.
yeah.
So maybe the simplicity of music just got more popular because maybe
Yeah.
because they probably played it a certain way, and people were just like, hey, that sounds pretty good. We
Hey,
won't
that sounds pretty
good.
good.
So that's
Um,
probably, and then you get music and then from there you get music in the '60s where you got people like the Clash, the Beatles. Well,
mhm,
no, yeah, the Beatles. Uh, you got the Clash, the Beatles, the Who. People
mhm.
like I. Do you know if Cream was more '70s or is that kind of
No,
'60s?
I've never actually heard of Cream.
That was Eric Clapton's band.
Oh, okay.
You know, I
No,
keep
I
forgetting
think it
we
was
have the internet at our disposal. So,
I think it was 80s, 70s, and 80s.
oh, what's first album? No, that was like or mid '60s, so '66. So I guess
All
that's
right.
when. Okay, um, and then Jimi Hendrix. You got people like Jimi Hendrix, and music started changing from there. And then I guess from the '70s, you got people like Rush. Although Rush was always a bit different, they're progressive rock, and they they always complicate make their music more complicated. Simply, I guess just to be different, because really, no one really has that Rush sound to it.
Mhm. Yeah,
I haven't really.
I'm not a huge fan of Rush, so
Mm,
I wouldn't really know a whole lot about that,
yeah,
I
well that's
guess.
fine, and yeah, so you got people like Rush coming out, even though they kind of had their own. They still, in my opinion, have their own sound.
Mhm.
Um, then you have. I'm trying to think of other '70s artists. Well, I guess then, I guess '70s is when pop started being more of a thing. Thinking about it,
Oh yeah. Oh
Hall and Oates.
yeah. Well, now that you were talking about pop, that reminds me of what I was going to say earlier. Basically, while we have rock and roll today, it's starting back in the 50s, we also have pop today, and I would argue that pop is the more complex music today, like a counterpart to big band, and jazz is the counterpart to rock and roll.
Well,
So it isn't
jazz has been around since I'd say the '30s at least. Jazz hasn't
20s. It's
20.
it's been around even earlier. I actually I took this history of rock class
Oh,
in last year at our high school, and it was actually super interesting because they talked about how the foundations of jazz were in like the late 1800s.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I made that joke 3 times,
I think it's a little more than that, but
4 times, 4 times.
but
Dare say
did
5?
yeah, but I feel like there's some genres of music that, well, I don't know. I feel like genres of music just obviously change with the time, but also change. They kind of switch spots, which is popular and whatnot. Because
Yeah, yeah.
like during the '30s and 20s through '40s, big band, the main stuff was pretty much like big band and jazz, not so much blues in a sense, or at least I wouldn't think blues in '40s and 20
Yeah,
late
well,
'20s through '40s.
I don't I think more complex music has always been more popular because I think that pop is more popular than rock and roll now. So I'd argue
Well,
that
people don't. You don't really hear a whole lot of rock and roll today. Period. I mean, granted,
no,
if you
no.
look hard enough, you'll probably find it, but not in a sense. And actually, pop
Is
music
it?
today isn't very musically complex. They add a lot of elements. Yeah. Well, even then, they don't really add too many. It's really just they have like a digital, like an electronic drum kit, for an example,
Mhm,
and then they
mhm.
have a synthesizer and the vocalist, and they add kind of essential elements, which would be bass, drums, and either like keys or guitar um for a melody and the vocals. Uh, what was I saying?
I don't know.
Darn it. Oh no, yeah. How pop music isn't very complicated because you just put something in the key of C, which I don't remember if you. I'm not sure how vast your knowledge of music theory is. Mine's not.
Yeah, well, I know that C is like the most
It's the most
basic.
common. It's the most basic and the most common because there's no
Yeah.
sharps or flats,
Hmm.
and that's why pretty much. It
Okay.
the all the notes in the key of C are. It's. I'm not gonna count. Well, I believe
There's
it's.
7.
Well,
No,
yeah,
there's 14.
no, there's 7 because there's no sharps or flats. There's always going to be 7 because it goes C to C, which would be C D E F G A B, and then back to C, and
Hmm.
then to go a little deeper. I believe
Hmm.
it's the 7th. No, not 7th. I'm 5th. No, yeah, the 5th is a minor. So I guess technically the key of C will be C D E F G A minor B, and then back to C. That's what I
All
believe
right.
it technically is. I'm a bit rusty on all this stuff.
Music theory.
Music, yeah, and I haven't taken a proper music theory course. I'd like to. I honestly would love to. I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah,
But
well, there's a music theory course on offer at our high school.
yeah, but like I haven't. You have to take piano first, and I just haven't.
Are you good? Are you taking piano?
I'd like to. I might talk to the
Uh,
when we get back to school. I might talk to music teacher about that. See if I can take them both classes at the same time. He might.
mhm.
He might let me. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I thought the 50s changed music. It was a very big pivotal point in how we kind of got to things
Oh,
today.
it totally was.
Yeah, and the other thing I kind of thought about is, I guess, the fashion, what people wore, because you got 40s and below. I can't really speak for female fashion because I simply just don't know a whole lot about it.
Hmm.
But I guess that can still have a big play in things. But I won't delve into that too much because I know more about men's fashion because I am male, and that's about
Hmm.
it. uh,
Yeah, it's
but like back in the 40s and kind of below, men would simply wear suits a lot. If anything, that was kind of their regular street clothes.
yeah. In the
Or at
four.
least
Yeah.
that's kind of what they wore regularly. But the 50s is when things started becoming less common. People didn't wear suits
Mhm.
all the time. And then in the 60s, I felt like the 60s suits, people just didn't wear suits really, probably unless they worked at an office that required them to wear a suit. And that's how I feel like it is a lot of the time now.
Mhm.
And because, in the 60s, people, I felt like, yeah, they still wore collared shirts. I mean, people still wear collared shirts today. But I feel like
Yeah.
the things just got a lot more casual. I guess everyone's turned into like a filthy casual or something.
Uninstall the game, you noob.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, 50s I felt like was the pivotal or a big change where people started dressing more casually. Yes, still collars and all that jazz, but like suits were becoming less and then not wearing a tie and I guess well, no. Well, jeans were invented back during the gold rush.
Yeah. Even earlier, actually.
Oh, really?
Oh no, the gold rush. The gold rush was never mind. The gold rush was mid 18,
Yeah.
mid 18.
But if you think about it, they still I felt like if you see old pictures from back in the day, most people didn't wear jeans.
Yeah, they wore slacks.
They wear slacks or like knickers or breeches or whatever. I don't know.
Well, breeches are like a medieval and Renaissance.
They still wore them. Maybe I don't know.
All right.
But like
Um.
basically photos you see back in the day, people didn't really wear jeans. I felt like towards like the younger people, in the 50s, I feel like probably wore jeans more. Granted, don't quote me on that because I haven't done research into this, but like I think maybe do you think it was the 60s when well, I don't know. When do you think when everyone just started wearing jeans all the time, you know?
I think the 70s. I think it was the 70s.
I don't know. When
I
I
don't
think of
think that
70s, I
jeans.
think of bell bottoms, which
No,
thankfully didn't.
I think that's exaggerated. I don't think bell bottoms were as prevalent as people thought they were, or as people think they were.
Well, I don't know. We
I
didn't live in the 70s, so we wouldn't know.
yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, you know, maybe we wouldn't have so many jokes about bell bottoms if they were not as prevalent. Like if they maybe the only reason we have so many jokes is because they were very prevalent.
Well, I mean, people joke about like the big hair 80s bands, and there were a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
them. That was a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
prevalent thing back in the 80s, so
Exactly.
maybe I don't know. Afros, man. What's my people sending me Steam messages? Come on, don't they know I have a podcast to run?
Probably not.
Shh, some people.
People just
This,
memes.
um, yeah, that was my brief little thing on fashion. How it started to change. I had
Yeah,
one more that I thought of, but I can't really think of it.
I definitely have been getting more into men's fashion.
Yeah,
Um, uh, I think it was I don't know. It's just cool. I like dressing well,
yeah. So do I. It's nice.
and now that I actually have a job and I can start buying some nice clothes.
Yeah, except let's not go to that store downtown.
No, yeah,
So we
nice,
have,
nice. Oh yeah, let's tell this
we'll
anecdote.
tell that story. That was a good day though.
Yeah, that was a really fun day actually.
Yeah. So
Like
it was our last day of school this year, and that was quite a bit of fun.
yeah, very fun day.
Yeah. Um. So I guess I'll tell part of it, and then you can
All
tell the
right,
rest.
all right.
So I'll tell the beginning part because we're putting this into two parters apparently.
Yeah, as the Harry Potter movie was.
The last one in that one, that is.
Hmm.
Anyways, so our school we have like it's pretty much like a hangout day where like people just play music and we all hang out at the school.
Yeah,
But we
it's
can't
fun.
go off campus.
And it ends 3 hours early. It's a short day.
Yeah, it's a short day, but it's like we're there for like we're literally doing nothing the entire day and we're just kind of sitting there for like a few hours. So it's like can't we just go? No, we can't leave early. That's lame.
Yep.
Honestly, it's probably for legal reasons why we can't.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, we decided to leave anyway though.
Yeah. And now before you chastise us for being young hooligans, do you know how many classmates we saw?
Yeah, we saw like literally like we stopped by our favorite, well, my favorite pizza joint, kind of a general hangout spot. And we saw 7 or 8 of our classmates who had also ditched.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we weren't legitimately ditching. Nobody really expected us to stay, I guess. We didn't, it was the last day of school. It was a half day. It was really hot and everybody was just kind of hanging out. So Tommy and I, we were bored. We wanted to go by the comic shop, get some lunch. So we decided to go into downtown.
Yeah, because our school is right next to downtown.
Yeah,
Oh, but something that was kind of interesting and kind of weird. So as we were walking, when we were leaving the campus, we had to like take a little back way.
Oh yeah, we snuck out. Like we actually used Solid Snake sneaking skills.
Yeah, we found a box and everything.
Yeah, we killed someone.
Yeah. But as we were leaving, about across the street, there was smoke.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
Something
like
was on fire.
there was probably a house on fire, and we're just
Yeah,
like, what
that's
the heck?
creepy.
We were
Yeah,
just kind of
so right across the street from our school, there was something on fire in the backyard of a house, and like fire trucks and stuff were. It was a huge column of smoke.
Yeah, and we
It
just
was,
walked on. We just walked
yeah, we
on
just
by.
walked by.
We're
I
just
was
like,
thinking, like, I asked Tommy, should we call 911? And we decided, no, there's a lot of people already doing it.
yeah, they've probably already had a call already.
Yeah,
So I'm like, they can deal with it because that's their job. You know,
yeah,
fire departments. That is.
it was pretty good. It was a
And
fun day.
yeah, and so we started walking downtown. Making our way downtown.
Making my way
Way
down.
downtown. And so we were walking, and then we got. I think no. First, no, we stopped by like a Jamba Juice, didn't we?
We did. We got Jamba Juice. That
We
was
got
fun.
Jamba Juice, and we walked by the comic shop that's downtown. I heard there was another one. What's the other one?
Um, what?
There's another comic shop. I don't know where it is.
There's Bad Comics and there's Collectors Inc.
I heard that Collectors Inc is better for comics because how Bat Comics has like nerd stuff and comic books.
Yeah.
The
I prefer Bad Comics though.
because it's so close.
Yeah, and also it has a lot more game stuff, and we're
Yeah,
at least I am more into games than comics.
I'm starting to get into comic. I still need to pick up issue number 3 of the Poe Dameron
I
comic.
I still need to get issue number 2 of Paper Girls.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't checked out Paper Girls, it's great. It's really weird and it's great. Check it
Yeah.
out.
And
Also check out the Podameron.
yeah, check that out. Official sponsor. That's a lie.
We're getting not paid for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's free advertisement, so I mean, I should get a free copy of the comic book, even
Yeah.
though it's only like $5.
Exactly.
Nah,
All right.
I forgot about that, man.
That was
Anyways,
a
and so
night.
it's kind of funny. It was closed. We couldn't figure out why until we looked, and we're like, oh, it opens at 11. So that was pretty funny. We're just like, why isn't this opening? And
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then we walked to where did we go?
we stopped by this one place first because it was called like Truckers or something.
Oh yeah, we stopped by Trucker.
Trucker.
That's a kind of a clothing store downtown in
Not
our
kind
town.
of. It is a clothing store.
It is a clothing store.
But we walked to it and we kind of looked around, and Harrison and I were looking for something more, I guess more snazzy, more formal.
Yeah, distinguished kind of.
We were looking for ties.
We were looking for some nice clothes.
I mean,
And
Truckers has nice clothes. It's just more
Yeah.
casual.
yeah, it's more casual. They had they had like hats with like pot leaves on them and stuff. It was kind of weird.
It was only that. No, there was only one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, to be honest, you could probably find hats like that in lots of clothing stores.
Yeah. Cause
Anyway,
you gotta
and then-
smoke all that dank weed apparently.
yeah, smoke weed
Weed
every
every
day. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg also a sponsor.
Snoop Dogg sponsoring.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we walked to the next clothing store.
Which I can't remember what it's called.
It was called Formal Education.
No, that wasn't formal education.
Which one? Wait, which one are we talking about?
The
I
one
thought we only went to Trucker and Formal Education.
that wasn't formal education.
No, we went to Formal Education.
Wait, that wasn't?
Yeah, that was Formal Education.
Oh, huh. Well, you heard it yourself, folks. That's the one we went to, apparently.
Yeah.
So we were looking at stuff, and then I was looking around, and then I saw. It's kind of funny. We walked in, and the manager dude who was setting up, he's just like, the door was open, so we just walked in. He's like, okay, the place is open. He was kind of walking. He's like, oh hey. He's like, and he's like, oh, the store technically isn't open yet, but I mean, you guys can just hang out.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It is. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we just kind of walked
This
in,
time.
looking around, and then then I saw a price tag, and I wanted to die because it was like,
$145 for a pair of pants.
yeah, I'm just like, ah. I mean, granted,
Beautiful, incredible quality clothes though. Like this was.
yeah, no,
top
that's
notch.
honestly the reason why I and Harrison like freaked out is only because we're high school kids who don't have stable jobs.
Yeah. Well, this
What-
guy's got a stable job.
Yeah, mine's not so stable.
Well, I mean, you still have a job.
I
Like
actually
that's
recently,
more.
I
What?
actually just got back into it.
All right, awesome.
Yeah,
That's really good to hear.
I start working tomorrow, so
That's awesome. It's well, I mean, what both of us have is more than a lot of high schoolers can say.
yeah. And
Uh,
yours is I believe yours is technically part time because I don't think you can work full time.
yeah, it's not. I don't. Well, and plus, I just wouldn't want to work full time.
Yeah, and mine is also technically. I mean, it's technically part time because I'm
Hmm.
not working. I ain't
40,
working
40
nine.
hours.
I'm not working 9 to 5. I'm at most I'm working like 12 hours a week, but that's still pretty good money for me
Yeah,
for someone who doesn't have to pay bills.
yeah.
I'm
It's just pocket money, pretty much.
Yeah, in a sense. So that's nice. But anyways, but honestly, a pair of like that's probably like a normal-ish price for
For
because
really nice clothes.
yeah for and honest they're probably like designer pants if anything, you know.
Yeah,
They probably are, and that's probably a normal price. Like if my mom saw them, she'd probably be like, "That's a normal price," and
yeah.
I'd be like, "But mom, that's expensive because you can just go down to the thrift store and
And
get a
get
pair."
some like crusty, bloody, stained pair of
Actually,
pants.
the
No, thrift stores. I'm not bashing thrift stores. I'm just
I mean, granted, will I find stuff in my size? Most of the time, no. But that's because I have a smaller waist than most people my age and size. I'm a very skinny person.
all right.
Like my waist, technically, I believe is a 28.
Wow. I
That
think I'm 34 or 36.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
like
oh shoot! I want to brag about this actually. I spent a lot of time as a chubby guy, and I lost like 5 or 6 pounds.
oh
Pretty nice.
nice,
Hey, that's pretty good.
nice.
Number 6. Um, it's just yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
I think maybe even more because I hadn't actually started recording until a little while ago.
awesome.
Yeah, it's nice. Anyway, sorry for that little caveat. Oh, we're not even done with our story yet.
Yeah, we're not done with the entire story, but
So,
but yeah, like I but it's a size 30 or 28 waist, but that's if the pants like when they fit perfectly and I don't need a belt. I wear a belt most of the time anyways because it is a pain in the butt to try to find, and I have long legs too, so the perfect pair of pants, the size would have to be like 28, 32.
mhm.
So you got a small waist and a long leg. But I think honestly the best pair if it's not 28-32 would be like 29-32 because that's when I'd have to wear a belt, but
Mhm.
that's like that's a good size. So anyways, we were there at what was it? Oh wait, I think the day before you and I went to Bat Comics.
Yeah, we had been kind of going on a spree to Bat Comics.
Yeah, so we went
We loitered a lot.
well, we loitered a bit, but then I actually bought a comic book. I'm
Yeah.
just like, you know what? I might as well buy one. So I bought the Star Wars one, and then I read it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually really liked it.
Mm.
And the next day I went in, and this was the last day of school. So
Yeah.
after we were at like the formal education or whatever, and the really expensive pair of pants,
Mhm.
it was finally open, and we're like, yay! Now people won't look at us crazy if we're trying to open a locked door.
Wait
I
for what?
because when before we because right after we got Jamba Juice, we walked over and we tried opening the door
Oh.
of Bat
Oh yeah,
Comics, and it was
to Bat
locked.
Comics, and it was locked.
We're just like, what the heck? And then we actually looked at the hours, and we're like, oh, I feel weird
Oh,
now, Harrison. Let's
oh,
go.
we're trying to break in.
Yeah, we gotta take all the dice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so, anyway, so we finally came back to Bat Comics, and it was open.
Mhm.
We were there for probably 20 minutes or something, maybe less.
Yep.
Probably less, honestly, because we were getting pretty hungry, or at least I
Yeah,
was.
it was a bottom line, really nice day.
Yeah, so that's when I went. I bought the second issue of the Poe Dameron series.
I got the first issue of Paper Girls.
Yeah. So then we walked over and got some pizza, and we saw. It's kind of funny as we were walking. I'm just like, "Oh, Harrison, looks like we're not the only hooligans."
Oh yeah, we the other people getting pizza.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, hey guys,
Hey guys,
hey Nico, want to
I
go
want to
bowling
want to skip school?
and go bowling?"
Yeah. Whoa, a bug just landed on me.
Well, you know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should go bowling sometime.
It's a good idea.
I haven't gone bowling in forever, dude.
You want to go bowling this weekend?
Yeah, or what are you doing tomorrow?
Working.
Well,
I don't have.
Whenever you get off work.
I get off work at 3:30, and I get back up to Par. This bug is very annoying. I get back up to Paradise at about 5. So yeah, I could.
Yeah, we should go bowling
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
All right,
And then we'll record a podcast there about us bowling.
Yeah, it'll be.
Probably not,
be-
but
Ah, God! What is this bug? It's just it's the boldest bug. It was crawling on my hand, crawling on my keyboard. Anyway, well, Tommy, do you have any more topics to talk about?
no, that was about it.
All right, everybody. So your weekly moral of the day: go out and have a nice day with your friend.
And possibly go bowling.
Go bowling, and if you could find us, go bowling with us. That'll be fun. It's always nice to have some strangers.
Yeah, go bowling with
bowling.
strangers. That's moral of the story, go bowling with strangers.
Yeah, that hairy guy, who's bloody at the bowling alley. Bowl with him.
Yep.
Good idea. All right, everybody. I think this about wraps it up for Strange Old Men in a Strange Old Cave. We're sending you out of our cave now.
Yeah, go
I'm
away.
going to kill this bug.